What's up everyone, it's Sean from TaekwondoSean.com, and today we're improving your sparring, your Kyorugi. We're gonna be going over how to kick with the proper part of your foot, your instep, or in Korean, 발등, the top of your foot. Check it out. So if you go on World Taekwondo and you look up the rules, the official part of the foot, it's gotta be the ankle and lower, and then the socks, the dado socks or the electronic socks that we use, the metal parts are on the top of the foot. Not on the toes, not on the instep, like the inside, not on the outside of the foot, definitely not on the ankle. It has to be the ankle and below. It's only on the top of the foot. So let's take a look, shall we? Let's take a bigger look at the foot. All right, so we have the foot here. So kicking with our toes, no point, especially in even like color belt sparring at the tournament. When you guys kick with the toes, it makes a very hollow sound on the chest guard, and the referee usually won't award the point when they see it. Even if it goes pop, it'll just be like a very shallow, and the whole foot doesn't touch, so it's very not convincing. So you probably won't get very many points like that. You could hit with the inside here, but then it starts to look like a monkey kick. And of course, we don't want that. It becomes like a bad name for Taekwondo. And then with the outside of the foot, which is more reserved for a side kick or checking or that kind of stuff. And so we're definitely trying not to kick with that part of our foot. So we don't overturn so much that our knee is pointing down and we're kicking with this part. So we're left with this, the 발등, top of the foot. This is the main chunky part that we want to hit the chest guard. Now the reasons are pretty simple. Spreading the impact surface like this causes less damage even through a chest guard, which is better because we're trying to avoid injury when we spar. And also, this makes a really loud slapping sound on the chest guard, which is way more convincing for the referees. So you're more likely to get a point in the unofficial tournaments where we don't have the electronic socks and chest guard if you kick with the top of your foot, the proper part to begin with. And then of course when you have the electronic socks, this part will give it to you way more often than the inside the toes or the outside of the foot. So let's see what it looks like on Bob. All right, so let's see what it looks like when we're kicking with the inside of our foot. We see it and it looks like this. The knees pointing up. Usually we see it in students that start sparring or they're just becoming like the yellow belt or 9th group. In our school, we teach them Toryochagi when they become a yellow belt. And so this is what it looks like at the beginning. We're kicking with the inside, sometimes even the bottom of our foot. No points, definitely not. Just looks like noobs. But that's okay, everyone starts somewhere. Now from here, we can also turn a little bit. So we're kicking more with in between the outside, or the inside, sorry, and the top. It's this ridge line. So the big toe, bone going up like this. Now the problem with that is sometimes you get the point depending on the referee and how they're feeling and what it looks like, but also you're gonna injure that, like, because it's a very small surface area, so it's gonna go really pink and then really red and then you're gonna get really sore. So that looks like this. So they're not turning their bottom foot, their supporting leg, enough. They're not turning their knee enough. It's coming up on an angle. So it looks like coming up on 45 degrees, like this. Now, let's say we go a little bit more. We turn our bottom foot more, and then we turn our knee more, so it's parallel with the ground. Now we're looking at good Toryochagi, kicking with our 발등, which is the top of your foot. Let's check it out. Come back, other side. So you can hear it already. It makes a nice, satisfying sound when it impacts the chest guard. Now, let's say we turn enough and everything's great, but we're kicking with our toes that are curled. We see some beginner Toryochagi practitioners doing this as well. And here's what it sounds like. So you can kind of hear that, right? So it sounds, instead of sounding like, it sounds like more like muted. Now again, sound's not everything, and the referee is not going to be looking because of like that kind of like sound. It's more about the technique, the technical prowess of the practitioner. It's more about a proper Toryochagi for the tournament. Now let's say we go a little bit further and we start overturning. Maybe our knees turn down, like this. Well, the problem now is that we're risking injury, because when the knee's pointing down, we're overextending our hips, and then if something happens where we fall or anything like that, we risk a lot of injury. So we want to try and avoid that if possible. So we got to find that sweet spot, not too much, not too little, just right. Everyone knows Goldilocks was a 4th degree black belt, right? Your parents were just preparing you for this moment. And then just a little side note, sometimes we kick with the apchuk, which is this part, but that's more of a traditional Taekwondo technique, like when you really want to cause damage in like a street fight, self-defense, whatever. I don't even want to call it street fight. I mean, Taekwondo is very useful in certain ways. But anyways, in more traditional Taekwondo, and definitely in patterns, we're kicking with the apchuk here. Now, if you land apchuk on the chest guard, you're not going to get points for it because you're not hitting the sock in the right spot. And you may cause more damage, and the problem with that is the referee sees it, he knows you're doing it on purpose, you might get penalties and then kicked out because it's not proper World Taekwondo Kyorugi techniques. So, traditionally kicking with the apchuk like this, very effective in injuring the opponent, disabling the opponent, but not really proper for Taekwondo sparring in official World Taekwondo tournaments, as in like the sport of Taekwondo. So there you go, a little tip for kicking with the right part of your foot, the partung, the top, that nice meaty part. Make sure we're not on the ridge, make sure we're not on the inside, the outside, or the toes. Even the apchuk, a proper traditional Taekwondo technique, still not good for the Taekwondo tournament, the sport Taekwondo. All right, so practice hard, kick with the right part of your foot, slow it down, all the drills that you do at your dojang. If you have to, just get that proper part of your foot first and then speed it up. Otherwise, we'll just have the wrong technique really fast. Train hard, get that Kyorugi up to par, and we'll see you guys on the mats.